For our final episode of Season 1, MassTransit traveled to the Diocese of New Ulm in Minnesota and visited with two parishes in the northwest corner of Lyon County. St. Edward in Minneota and St. Eloi in Ghent are part of the Good Teacher Area Faith Community. One of the distinguishing facets of an area faith community is that two or more parishes share one priest. Both St. Edward and St. Eloi are shepherded by Father Todd Petersen. Father Petersen has shepherded the two parishes for a little more than 2 years. MassTransit asked him to explain area faith communities before delving deeper.
Well, in general, the area faith community was a concept that Bishop Nienstedt brought in, recognizing that we're looking at a shortage of priests and how do we provide pastoral care for our parishioners of all parishes. By and large, the area faith community was created to allow pastors to be more readily connected to the parishes. There was a recognition that people needed a pastor. In general, the area faith community allows for the priest to be stretched in a way that's not overwhelming and yet very much connected to the parishes that he serves. Here at Good Teacher Area Faith Community, we're two parishes with a school and the Sisters of Mary Morning Stars. And any given Sunday at any given Mass, we'll see parishioners from each parish. And they know each other and they love each other, and yet they maintain their individual identity as parishes. I knew this was going to be a great area faith community, people of very much of the land. But even earlier on, I had read about, in particular, the Belgians who came and settled, and Ghent is settled primarily by the Belgians, and how pivotal their faith, their family, and their farm is. Minneota and St. Ed's I had some experience with as well. With them, they impressed me as a deep Eucharistic devotion, and people of, again, good people, very good hearts. The Belgian, they tend to be more Belgian, Irish, English, German. Every parish has its own charism and how it's lived out, and it's not that one has one and the other one doesn't, but there's certain elements that kind of rise to the top and are more easily picked out and discerned. I think both parishes have a love of the Eucharist and a love of good liturgy and good solid Catholic teaching, but every parish is a family, and as the Catholic Church, we are a family of families, and so you get a sense of brothers. They raise their families very much the same, but still very different, and there's a different flavor in each family despite being interrelated.
MassTransit sat down with parishioners from St. Edward and St. Eloi and quickly discovered firsthand just how on target Father Petersen's description of the two parishes was. One of the questions MassTransit asked all of them was, "Why are you a Catholic?" They all had great answers.
Just the truth was sort of inescapable. You know, I had friends in graduate school that, they sort of looked down on people with faith, like we weren't, we're kind of silly or something like that. But just the idea of living outside the faith just is such a non-starter. I couldn't imagine how you can live without those truths.
I would say why I am Catholic was when I probably had my first child, and I think having my first child became overwhelming, and I knew that I couldn't do it by myself.
I'm Catholic because of Christ and the Eucharist and the sacraments that we receive from that, and the graces we receive from the sacraments. It's because of Him that I'm Catholic.
Because I believe that Catholic Church has the fullness of the truth, and I really honestly believe that.
We asked them what it is that attracts them to their home parish.
The people here are so good. If you ask for help, they're more than willing to work. We have the best volunteers. We truly do. Whatever we do, we have very good volunteers.
What attracts me to this parish is just a sense of belonging. It feels like home.
And I think for me, what attracted me to this parish was the sense of belonging with the different parishioners. We've learned since going through ordination that if you quick hustle out of church, you're not going to feel the welcomeness that many people have for you here.
I think what first attracted us was just how friendly the people were. They were very welcoming. We always got greeted when we came in the door, and people said they were glad we'd come.
Yeah.
And the logical follow-up question, what keeps you at your home parish?
The reason that we stay here is, first of all, it is our parish. These are the people that, we have gotten close to.
It's always felt like home. I mean, like we said, we've had all of our children have received the sacraments here. We were married here. Our children go to school at St. Ed's when they're in the elementary grades. And it's fulfilled our needs.
I just really enjoy St. Edward's. I mean, we grew up here and we just have that affinity to it.
I think there's a feeling of being able to be more involved more quickly here. Like if we have an idea of something we want to try out or start up, then it's just usually a matter of talking to the priest, making sure he's on board, and then
MassTransit was curious about the effectiveness of the area faith communities. So we asked the parishioners their thoughts.
Well, it's a wonderful thing, but I really feel for the priests because they're on the road a lot. They're very busy.
We really work together to try and build a community of faith, however that is. I mean, every year it's different, every month it's different. It just takes time, but to be patient and just take people where they're at in their faith journey and then try to be an example of that to them in our faith walk, but then also not beat ourselves up when we're not perfect all the time.
So the Good Teacher Area Faith Community, just a great group of people, right? We talked earlier about the Robes. There's a bunch of them. The Hennons, the Botts, the Vancouvans. There's so many families that are just great families, and like Jess said earlier, just to visit with them and share camaraderie with them. Really, it's a sense of belonging. It's a sense of home.
I think it's a really good fit because, like in my case, there's a lot of relatives back and forth. So there is that connection. And then we have the sisters in Ghent, which is definitely a blessing for us.
So huge.
And they've actually come out to our farm and visited us, and and they're just a wonderful group of women.
Mm-hmm.
And their spiritual charism, has been definitely a good thing for our area faith community.
Mm-hmm.
The Diocese of New Ulm had been without a bishop for 2 years until Pope Francis selected the Most Reverend Chad W. Zielinski as successor to Bishop John M. Lavoie, who resigned August 6th of 2020 after heading the diocese for 12 years. The people at St. Eloi and St. Edward adored Bishop Lavoie and are equally thankful to welcome Bishop Zielinski.
The importance of a bishop in general is for the same reason every parish has a pastor. It's the visible head of that entity that helps hold that entity together and hold the entity at times accountable, and to really highlight and celebrate what is being done. So having been without a bishop for 2 years as a diocese, it's wounded us in a certain way, not having that visible. And we've had a diocesan administrator who's done a remarkable job, but having a bishop who's able to come in and provide the sacrament of confirmation primarily, or be the one who ordains our newly ordained priests or our deacons, and being that visible presence of the apostles in our diocese, and connecting us not only as within the diocese, but with the larger church, the Church Universal. He's our link to His Holiness, and he's the one who speaks definitively in our diocese for what the church wants us to do. And I'm very excited to have Bishop Zielinski installed with us, and seeing the course and the direction he takes.
We're grateful that we finally have been given a new shepherd. It was a long time without one, and we were afraid we were forgotten. The New Ulm Diocese has had its struggles, but hopefully is landing on its feet. We really loved our Bishop Lavoie. Just excited that we have another bishop, and by all reports he should be a great bishop for us, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna get pretty awesome, I think. It's so I'll be the first one to admit I was a little bummed out when Bishop Cousins went to Crookston, and then Bishop Barron comes right south of us. I'm like, really? We've been without a bishop for like 2 years. Why didn't we get one of these guys? And then they introduced Bishop Zielinski, and I watched the half-hour interview they did at the cathedral in New Ulm with him. I was so filled with joy after I watched that. I was like, this is why. This guy is going to be absolutely awesome.
Bishop Chad, I tell you, he wants to drive a tractor. And I was talking to one of my neighbors yesterday that goes to church in Tyler. And they are going to have all the people bring their tractors to Tyler when the bishop comes. They're going to have a tractor parade. And he can have his choice what he wants to drive.
I think the ultimate message as an area faith community I want this video to show is that without pride we can say we are special and we're doing God's will in our area faith community and our parishes. We're seeking Him and loving Him in a unique and holy way. That we're called to service and called to be disciples in a deeper way, and this video will help us and remind us that we have something to offer and something the world and Minneota and Ghent and this corner of Lyon County, this corner of the state needs.